This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And again, we'll start out like we have over this past 1 year plus now with the COVID, the Wuhan, China, COVID-19 flu virus, and what some of the updates that are going on right now. Shots are still going in arms, and they're moving forward with that without one of the companies that is in a pause situation. We'll talk about that in a few minutes here. We're seeing that they're talking herd immunity in many communities right now. They're saying, individual areas, regions are actually showing herd immunity taking place, and that is not just the vaccinated, but those that get it the old-fashioned way, where they get COVID-19, it burns through, and now they have immunity. So we are moving in most of a lot of the bigger cities, and that they are reaching a herd immunity in some of these locales. Again, let's talk a bit about the vaccines, and it appears that this past this past week, another shoe has dropped for Johnson & Johnson. One of their production arms, the FDA had ordered Emergent Biosolutions to pause their production part of things. They're part of J&J, and they're doing some of the actual production of the vaccine. I guess the FDA has found some issues with the quality control from this production area, and they have put yet another pause on J&J until those deficiencies get resolved. So again, J&J has been, they paused, I think, 2 weeks ago for issues with reactions from patients, and now they have a quality control issue. So that will most likely add to the delay for Johnson & Johnson maybe to get back online again. I'd like to talk about, at this point, again, keeping with COVID, I'd like to talk about South Dakota. Kristi Noem, the governor there, has signed legislation this week, a few days ago, regarding South Dakota is another state that's like Florida, and there's about 4 or 5, several others that have said, no, we're not going to go down the COVID vaccine passport. Show us your papers before you can buy or sell. And Kristi Noem has put this in legislation for that her state is not going to require any passport vaccination. So, here I've been kind of critical with Kristi over the last month. She's kind of wobbled a little bit on the transgender issue. She was supporting a bill that would put some teeth behind this issue, chemically castrating young people, and also affecting sports, where the boys and young men are competing in the girls' sporting events, and there was legislation that she was touting that she would be signing, and then last minute she sent it back and said make some corrections. So I was a little bit critical with her on that, but for the most part, she's been great for not having her state a tyrannical state. Her state has been pretty much open. You know, all the mask mandates and all that. Her state has kept things open. Businesses were open, so she's done a relatively good job. Along with obviously Florida has been stellar and at the forefront. And again, I will give kudos to Ron DeSantis. Now, Kristi Noem is governor of a smaller state, but here in Florida, a big state, elderly population, and right now you can see the liberal media has been going after Ron DeSantis for his leadership and bringing his state, opening up his state, and being at the forefront of getting making sure that his state wasn't a tyrannical state, putting the boot of government over his residents. So he's been a leader there in Florida. Let's talk a bit about a little bit of New York news. And Andy Cuomo, again, back in the news. He's under fire again. For what, you may ask? Well, here on PJNET.TV, My Perspective, we talked a bit about some of the things that have been going on in our state regarding Andy Cuomo. One of which was the nursing home, the deaths that took place in the nursing homes where he forced COVID positive patients in the nursing homes, and then there was a cover-up. They covered up the numbers of deaths. First, they would drag their feet. We don't have the numbers. No, our health department hasn't calculated it. And that went on month after month after month. And finally it came out. And the initial report that the Cuomo administration put out was off by over 50% and of deaths. So they cooked the book, so to speak. So he was under pressure there. And then the sexual scandals that come out where women have accused him of harassment. That has come on over the last 4 to 5 months. And now yet another situation. What, you may ask? Well, we talked about this here on PJNET.TV, My Perspective, and it had to do with that book, that Emmy-winning book that he got, I guess, a couple million to produce. Yeah, the book about what a good job he did through COVID, only to find out it wasn't a good job, but he had people, because of his decisions, people died. But he's under fire because he had his staff, he directed his staff to do things like reading over and proofreading his book and doing some publicity work for the book and other things that were all being done, it appears, on the New York residents' dime. And this came to light about a week and a half ago. The comptroller, New York State comptroller, sent a letter to, and his last name is DiNapoli, and he sent the letter to the comptroller's name is last name DiNapoli, and he sent a letter requesting that the Attorney General get involved because he had a criminal referral regarding this issue of taxpayer money going to this book to be polished and produced via Andy Cuomo's staff. So Letitia James, the Attorney General, now has that, and she has opened up a criminal investigation for Andy Cuomo. So more to come on this, but yet, the things just keep stacking up on this governor. The arrogance of Andy Cuomo in the way he's run this state. It's my way or the highway, and you're going to put COVID infected patients back in the nursing home and those facilities, care facilities. And, there were hospital administrators that were trying to say, this isn't a good idea, you're going to do it, was basically Andy's attitude and his direction. And the elderly in those nursing homes paid the ultimate price because of those Andy Cuomo pushing his health department to enforce these nursing homes to take the COVID infected. So again, more and more things coming out about Andy Cuomo. We'll keep you informed, because right now Letitia James is gearing up on this investigation, and I think that they are going to find even more. Now, is this going to be enough to potentially to impeach Cuomo? We'll find out, but it just keeps 3 issues right now. With any other another governor would be gone right now or step down, but Andy refuses to step down, and it's just kind of par for the course for this governor. Let's talk a bit about old Joe, the acting president, I guess, of the United States, and what has been going on. And I guess we'll start right now with the debacle. And now Joe Biden finally admits, there's a crisis on the southern border. Yeah, Joe, the American people and people in your own administration have been telling you that there's a crisis, obviously. They hid away the pictures from some of these facilities, and they didn't want anybody to see what was going on. Well, just the half of it. And now there's a facility that in Texas, the Houston area, near the George Bush International Airport there in Houston. They're closing that down because of the deplorable conditions there. So bad that and this is a facility for girls, 13 to 17-year-old, and the conditions are so bad, and they don't have enough bathroom facilities, that they're handing out plastic bags for these kids to go to the bathroom in, because they don't have enough staff, one, to escort the kids to these, 1 or 2 or several restrooms, and they're already 100-200% over capacity for that particular facility. So it's a mess, and they're closing down that facility because of the wretched conditions there. Another indication that the Biden administration has totally lost any piece of competency when it comes to what's going on at the southern border. I'd like to talk a bit about, big in the news, the Derek Chauvin trial, and found guilty on all counts. And when we came to you here on PJNET.TV some months ago, and I think my impression was, it looks bad. It did not look good, but it's going to go to trial, and what we know now, what we see now, that picture was not good. And I think what really concerns me right now is I didn't follow the play-by-play every day of this trial. I listened to highlights and, of the day's testimonies and such. And, both sides brought their arguments. But one thing that neither the defense or the prosecution really didn't push, that this was racially motivated, that Derek was a racist. That they stayed away from that, and they didn't have evidence there. So we're talking about intent, and that piece of it did not come out in any testimony. You list the verdict. I'm concerned because of what we heard leading up to that verdict, and very concerned when I'll just say it. When you have days before, as the trial was nearing the end, you saw the mob come out, the BLM and other race baiters like Maxine Waters right there, a few days before. And what did she say? She incitement. If you want to talk about what incitement looks like to cause to riot, to cause mayhem, right out of Maxine Waters' mouth, she was talking about. Let's see, what did she say when asked? We have to get out in the streets and get more active and get more confrontational. And she was pushing that, go out there. It got so bad that the judge even, said that what she was saying could potentially put the trial in danger of being a mistrial. And this is what we're getting with these race baiters. And, this isn't the first time where Maxine Waters has incited crimes to hurt people. I mean, that's right out of her mouth when she was talking about going after Republicans, and you see him pumping gas, or you see him in a restaurant, you see him at a department store, you go after them, you confront them, you tell them that they're not welcome here. That's out of Maxine Waters' mouth, a race baiter. And she should be called out, and she should be bounced right out of the house, because there's no place for that type of hate, that spews out of her mouth. And that's what we've seen. And there's more. It's not just her. I mean, there's others that, the bandwagon has started. And we're seeing that right now in other areas. Now, we saw this for Derek Chauvin, but I'm going to talk a bit about another issue that's really concerning to me. But right now, I'd like to talk a bit about this week, a new social media platform has started, Frank Speech, and that's the MyPillow, Mike Lindell's social media platform was debuted here. I think Monday it opened. So we'll see. There's some whisperings that Donald Trump might be, that might be part of a platform that he might be spending some time on. So we'll see how that, plays out, and if it becomes effective and adds a really good, viable transfer for those that are sick of the censorship and the banning and accounts being suspended. So we'll see if how that site operates, and that's the Mike Lindell, and it's Frank's Speech is the name of that platform. I'd like to, at this point, I want to, what we saw with this trial, and the police have been at the forefront over these last months, and my heart goes out to these our men in blue, because there's a wicked evil that is being casted against our men in blue, and and that's not to minimize. I mean, there are cops and police officers that really shouldn't be in that profession, but it's really gotten to a point where it's really about, if you're I hate to say it, if you're a white police officer in some locales, no matter what you do, if you interject and there's an arrest or there's a shooting, you're immediately said you've done something wrong. And we just saw an example of that right here in over in Ohio, and what took place there. And again, I'm so glad that there was evidence, there was video showing exactly what took place, because as a matter of fact, well, we're going to have a video that's going to kind of discuss exactly what took place, and we've been sharing at the end of my perspective and comments a video clip of the week, or that's discussing a particular topic, or something that's in the news that I think it would be good for us to take a look at. But I think at this point we have to look at things objectively. We can put blinders and say that's a tragedy, I really don't want to I don't want to watch it. But we have to, because what's happening is a political class right now that's making everything race. And if you're a white police officer, you can do no right. And now it's come down to any interaction that fits the narrative of a white police officer arresting or shooting a black suspect, then something was done wrong. And that's what we're seeing. And at this point, I'll tell you folks, to be honest with you, there was the KKK that was wearing white sheets. Now we have a new KKK, and they're wearing all black, and it's called Black Lives Matter. Because that's what's being pushed right now, is out of the Black Lives Matter's mouth, anything that's cop related that has to do with a white cop, there's something wrong. And we're seeing more and more. And it's not, you have the organization. Yes, there are people that have good intentions. They're looking for fairness. But the organization of Black Lives Matter is an organization that wants to tear down America, and I can't stand with them. They're going after the police, and what ultimately are they doing? They're promoting letting prisoners out, felons, murderers, rapists. They're letting them out of prison, and guess what? Are you surprised that why there are more murders going on? More black on black crime is taking place. But nobody in the media is talking about that. The majority of the cases, the tragedies that are taking place, that's what's happening. And they take one, they'll take a police officer and it's 24/7. See, look what he did. When there's steady, every day, there's black on black crime, and that's been the history for many years now. You know, Chicago, another example of an area that every weekend you've got dozens of black on black crimes and murders, and nothing is focused. But you let a police officer who saved in Ohio a young lady's life, a black lady, that didn't matter. It was the white cop shot it to protect her, and because she had a knife, and he's in the wrong. So at this point, I'd like us to take a look at some commentary and some video talking about what we're seeing in America right now. You know, Ohio is just yet the latest of the attack that seems to be coming towards our police. And folks, pray for our police, because you know there's a concerted effort to go after the police, and you've heard it. You know, defunding, and you know, they've got to go. And what happens when they go? Ordinary citizens are going to have to pick up the slack. You're on your own. Protect your own. And you know, is that what we want? You know, is that what our taxes have gone? We pay taxes for a police force for protection. And you know, if Black Lives Matter and these anarchists, these communists, what they want to ultimately do is to remove the police, and it's, hey, the Wild Wild West, and that's, you know, that's the ultimate end game from their viewpoint. And we have to speak up, and we have to say no, yes. And when it comes to you know, trying to make sure that we eliminate bad police officers, yes. But what these Black Lives Matter and these race baiters want you is the broad brush, every police officer, I mean, what did they do? Soon as the verdict for Chauvin came out, what did they do? They went right after Minneapolis, the whole police department, and say, look, we've got to root out all the racists in there. That's the first area they went to. So I'm concerned, you know, and again, as I said, pray for our police officers here in this country. But right now, let's take a look at a piece of video and that's discussing what took place in that police officer in Ohio, protecting and doing his job with about 17 seconds to come on the scene and identify exactly what was happening and take action before an innocent young lady got stabbed to death. So take a look.